Hey guys, and welcome to a video covering the most busted ranged ability ever, Greater Ricochet. So when you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Before I start off the video, I want to give a massive shout out to ISOPets for gifting me the Greater Ricochet ability about a week ago when it cost around 600 million GP. I was personally going to wait until it would become cheaper, around 300 million GP, before buying it, but thanks to ISOPets I can make this video a lot sooner than planned. Would you believe me if I said that the clip you're watching right now is a clip of me using a basic ability with a 17 tick or 10.2 second cooldown? Some of you unaware of what Greater Ricochet does might say, hey, that's a threshold, right? But no. Look at that damage. It's a basic ability, or an upgraded greater basic ability, and it is absolutely phenomenal. The reason Greater Ricochet is so good is because if it cannot find additional targets, the hits of Ricochet will simply hit the single target in the area. On its own, this is already a 40 to 200% ability damage ability without the Corroming perk, meaning it's a straight up upgrade if you just buy this ability and get it without using the Corroming perk. But when you start to use the Corroming perk, this ability becomes godlike. It is absolutely insane with the Corroming 4 perk because you'll have 6 total hits because there's 4 additional targets with the Corroming perk, leading up to an ability damage of a min of 80% and a max of 400%. To put it in perspective, this beats out the best threshold in the game with no switches being snapshots. And that's a basic ability that you can use every 10.2 seconds. Let that sink in for a second. If you're killing any boss with no minions, that is an insane damage increase per minute. Now before I get the question in the comments, does this work in PvP? No, of course not. If it worked in PvP, you would be able to one-shot people so easily that PvP would become broken. Imagine using a snapshot into a Greater Ricochet. Absolute no chance. Especially after a snipe, there's no chance people will survive. It would be just too good. I'm going to show you some testing in a second, but I did also test this at Nex without Corroming, and even then it's already a big improvement for Nex and some other bosses, just because it's simply a DPS increase without any effort. Now, I do feel the need to mention the perk setup. If you do not like switches, this is a massive upgrade in damage simply by having Corroming 4 with an additional perk on your offhand weapon, or your two-handed weapon if you're using an ECB. For example, Corroming 4 Equilibrium 2 or Corroming 4 Aftershock 1. Now of course there's a chance of you getting just Corroming 4 when creating gizmos, being the single perk in that gizmo slot. That still works, but it is of course better if you have Equilibrium 2 or possibly Aftershock 1 on it if you're using it as a switch to keep your Aftershock stacks. I guess it depends on your entire perk setup. I'm personally going to use it as a main perk without any switches because I don't necessarily like a Corroming switch for ranged. I do use Revolution 99% of the time, and I put Greater Ricochet on my first ability slot, so if I accidentally use it without the Corroming perk, I'm going to miss out on DPS. For me personally, it's going to be a bigger DPS increase if I just simply camp Corroming 4 Equilibrium 2 on my Ascensions. And I also put it on my SGB, which might be a little controversial, but I have my reasons for attack range and me switching to my SGB and accidentally using the ability with Revolution. I have my reasons. It's not ideal, I know. I would love to have an ECB, of course, and put it on there instead and not touch my SGB, but I use my SGB too much. I know back bolts are better. I've mentioned in videos. You know, just a little disclaimer. Anyways, let's get into the testing. So, Greater Ricochet is, well, just look. Very good for the minions. Very good indeed. In fact, it's better than very good. You can kill the minions so quick now that it shaves a huge amount of time off of your Nex solos. Now, I don't do that many Nex solos, and my times weren't that great, but with this ability, I was easily able to get sub 3-minute kills. Now, that may not sound like a lot to you, but half of the time I wasn't using Von Bombs, I wasn't using any God Books, and I've been off of Aura here as well, which is pretty stupid, but it shaved a huge amount of time off of my Nex solos, and for a comparison video, it definitely doesn't matter how good I am at PVM or how bad I am at PVM, because with this ability, I could definitely 100% notice the difference between doing Nex solos with Greater Ricochet and the Corroming perk, and without. I think it was over a 30-second difference every single kill, and that is It's insane. And it isn't just an ability to clear the minions faster, it's an ability that is good in every single phase, including the final phase, the Zaros phase, because the hits are capped in that phase, and having a basic ability that can hit 6 times during that phase can shave off a lot of time from your solos. Thanks to Satay Stokya, I have a clip showing you what happens to the minions if you're using the ECB spec and the greater Ricochet ability. It's almost hilarious how good it is at Nex. Just look at what happens in this clip. I really think this ability makes Nex solos fun again for me. It's just so satisfying to see those massive hits for literally just clicking one ability, or tapping the keybind, I mean. It's really, really fun for Nex solos. I've also made some decent money already from a few hours of Nex testing, got some Torva plate legs and some Pernix pieces. So yeah, all in all, I'm very, very happy with this ability in the game. And it isn't just good at Nex, guys. It's good literally in every PVM situation you could imagine, except for reflect mechanics, because there's a big chance you'll knock yourself out. I do have to note one thing for Nex solos, however. If you're using Revolution, it's very easy to mess up your greater ricochets for the minions, which is why we recommend, if you are going to do Nex solos with this ability, full manual is very nice for that, because otherwise you'll use your greater ricochet ability at the wrong time. Also, if you're wondering why I zoom in on certain clips, it's so that you can see the hits better. Now, at Taraxor, it's exactly what you expect. It's a damage increase, and it's good for any phase, but you need to watch out when you use this ability, especially when he just webs, or if there's a mirrorback spider spawning, there's a chance of you getting KO'd. This did actually happen to me once, but I did not record the footage for whatever reason, so I cannot show you. It happened around 150% in rage, and it was a pretty nasty death. The most notable improvement with greater ricochet is definitely phase 4 at Taraxor, simply because getting to that first 50k life points is a lot easier in your death swiftness when you use greater ricochet, because it hits like 8k on average or something. The difference is 100% there. If you have this ability yourself, you'll notice it when you're PVMing with the Roaming 4 perk. Kills are just faster, P4 is over much more smoothly. Even if you don't have the SGB for the spec, this ability absolutely smacks at Taraxor. Now, I also did a kill without using Death Swiftness in phase 4, and I got the kill, or phase 4, down just before the black blob could hit me, so that shows how good this ability is. You can literally finish the phase, no SGB spec, no Death Swiftness, before the blob hits you, given that you have 290s. Now, I did also test the greater ricochet ability at Elite Dungeons, and honestly, it's just a damage increase, and it is of course great for anything that spawns, for example the spires at Varacliff, or if you like to do ranged ambassador, of course, the spinners, and if you have fleeting boots as well in combination with greater ricochet, you can run around, use rapid fire and ricochet, and it makes ambassador group or solos a lot easier using ranged. And I'd almost say there's no reason to use magic and the ambassador over ranged, because ranged has big criminal bolts, and it has fleeting boots, and it has the greater ricochet ability right now as well. Also, for those wondering about specifics, there's 2 people in this ambassador clip using the greater ricochet ability and fleeting boots. So, that's the greater ricochet ability with a sticker price of around 650 mil currently. Is it worth the money? Well, for what you get, I definitely think it's worth the money, because the added raw damage output with the Roaming perk and this ability is just extraordinarily good. I cannot not recommend this ability, even though it's very expensive, but over time I assume it might drop in price. We'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I definitely look forward to using ranged more often now, because this ability is so much fun. As for Greater Chain, you'll just have to wait and see until that video comes out as well. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.